Hello, and welcome back to Let's Talk Chicago Bears. Right on. It is Monday. It's not a victory Monday, but it's preseason, right? So I'm just gonna chit chat a little bit about the game and some other things. Not a lot to say really without going overboard about what's going on. But first, I want to thank everybody for watching my last show. Much appreciated. I really do appreciate it. I mean, I'm this 65-year-old woman, and I'm talking Chicago Bears, and people actually listen to me. I love it. It is really kind of cool. People are like, "Oh, you need more subscribers. You need more of this." I don't really care. I do it because I love it. I love talking. That's obvious. I love the Bears, and I like talking about the Bears. And if somebody's going to actually listen to me, it is really cool. I got to tell you, it is a cool thing. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really always appreciate it. So anyways, let's get to it. We'll talk about the Bears game. They lost 24-21, again preseason. But I will tell you, I told you I'll always begin when I do my preview shows, the Friday before the games on Sundays or Mondays or Thursdays, and it's Wednesday I do it. But I always will talk about how I think the Bears could win, what they need to do, blah, blah, blah. And then I always talk about my threes. Every broadcast I'll talk about that prior to the game and after if they didn't. So if you don't know my threes, they're time of possession, turnover battle, and penalties. And when I say penalties, I feel 5 or less is all you can come back from. You should not have more than 5 penalties because it's just going to keep on hurting you, and especially when it's on offense. So the Bears, again, preseason, they lost 2 out of the 3 of my threes. They lost the time of possession. They had Bills had it 33 minutes to the Bears 26. They did win the turnover battle. They had 2. Buffalo had 1. They lost the penalty big time. They had 7 penalties, and Buffalo only had 2. Now that's discipline, especially for preseason. So, we'll talk about that. I'm not going to go crazy about it because it is, again, preseason, but I will in a little bit talk about the player. Well, let's talk about it now. So here's a thing where penalties kill you. So it was right after Fields got taken out in the second quarter, and Banjit, I don't know his damn name, Banjit, number 17, the backup quarterback. So when he came in, he throws this great pass to Clement, who ends up on the 2-yard line. Then what happens? The Bears get a frickin' penalty for holding. It goes back 10 yards, and we had to settle for a field goal. Now, you're on the 2-yard line. There's a really good chance you're going to get in. Of course, it is the Chicago Bears. But, the way Banjit's been playing, number 17, he probably could have just jumped over the pile and gotten a touchdown. So that's where you see penalties really hurt you. You're going. You do all these positive things, and then that flag comes out, and it's backwards. And 8 out of 10 times, I swear to God, the Bears always either have the punt or go for the lesser of the two evils, meaning the field goal over the touchdown. So they're just not good enough to overcome penalties like some teams are. So it's something they got to work on. Stevenson, number 29, the D-back guy, our rookie, he had several costly penalties in that game, but then he made it up with an interception. But you don't really want to go live your life like that, making mistakes and then doing something, in the fourth quarter, catching an interception, You just want to, and you know what? With number 27, Stevenson, he's our D-back guy. He's in the backfield. he's just young. The game's got to slow down a little bit for him, and I don't think he'll continue to make these mistakes. That is just a rookie's mistakes. And let's just say it was in preseason, so it's okay. Just, young man, think about what you're doing, slow the game down, and number 29, you're going to be good for us. He's going to be real good for us, Stevenson. I really like him back there with the other young guys that we have back there. You know, Gordon, Basker. I can't even think right now. You know what? I gotta get back into knowing the team, and I do know them. But you know what? It's been, how many months, and I haven't really, so I got to get back to doing that. But you know what I mean, those young guys back there that we had last year, this is their second year. Jalen Johnson, those guys. So 29, Stevenson's going to be good. But yeah, those penalties, there was a couple that really, really hurt us. So penalties, we got it. When season starts, 5 or less each game. So let's talk a little bit. You know what? This game, I wasn't overly impressed or underimpressed. You know what I mean? It wasn't either or. There was a lot of players out. Especially on the O-line. You know what? We have guys out, and we've got to get them back in there. Now that we've lost Jenkins, he's going to be out for a while. Nate Davis has not really practiced. I don't believe he was in the game at all on Saturday. And we got to get these guys in there because they've got to gel, and they've got to work together. Defensive lines and offensive lines are a unit. And the 5 of them, they're especially offensive linemen. They're very close, and it's a very tight group because it is very important for them, and they have to work in tandem. They have to work together. And if these guys, half of them are sitting on the sidelines because they're hurt, it isn't going to help on game 1 on September 10th. So the Bears have to do a lot of work in these next couple weeks. So what do we have? 13 days left until the season starts for the Bears. So they got to get these guys healthy. I mean, we have got to get them working together, right? Otherwise, it's just not going to be a good year. And we don't want to go through that again. We want to see major improvement with the Bears this year, opposed to last year, on all aspects of the ball. Now, I'll tell you one thing that impressed me in that game Saturday was, and it's really been all season, is the special teams. They're looking pretty good. That punter, Gill, is just rocking it. And then, we had the, who blocked that punt? I remember and I can't remember, but Ford, right? Ford blocked the punt, and that was great. So we got to keep stuff like that up. So special teams, keep it up, and of course, Carlos Santos did a 51-yard field goal. Keep it up. We need all of this in the regular season. So I told you about the penalty that hurt the Bears on the 2-yard line from number 17, our second string quarterback, to Clement. And then I just want to talk about Badgett a little bit. Now, he did not look that bad in the game. The numbers don't look well for him if you look at it, but he had 2 big passes dropped, one by one wide receiver, I think it was, and then for sure the tight end, Carlson, number 88, when he had him after we got that turnover, and the Bears right away, and I love that they do that because they don't ever do that. Where teams get turnovers, good teams, they automatically go to the end zone to see if they can get the other team off, right? And the Bears did this, and it worked. Carlson, 88, was wide open, and he just fucking missed the ball. I could have caught that ball. Now, it was in preseason, so I backed off a little bit. I was mad. So, and then there was a pass, Badgett throw. I didn't note down who it was, a wide receiver. It was later in the game, and it was for a lot of yards, and it was dropped. I mean, just simply dropped. So you got to help your quarterback out, kids. Come on. But Carlson did have a lot of good catches later in the game. They put him back in there, so that maybe not mess with his head. And he did have some solid catches. So he could be a good backup to Clement. So, but I did want to talk about, before we get past anything else, about Badgett a little bit more, because it's a pretty cool story that he was selected, the way it happened. And, I'm only going to talk about it now because I like the kid. I think he shows promise. I think we might have something here, but we really don't want to really be talking about him a lot this year because that means Fields is hurt or he's not in the game or something. So I'm just going to give him his dues right now, and that's probably going to be it, okay? Because it is cool. So Badgett signed as an undrafted free agent in the offseason after the draft, and he came from Shepherd University. And he's the first player since 1979 who was picked, and that's when Houston Oilers were still in the league, and a lot of you youngsters are going, Houston Oilers? Yeah, they were a team. And Wade Wilson was picked in the 12th round in 1975. So, and I believe, and then I was trying to find out more research, and it looks like there's only been 5 other players, well, now 6, out of this university that have ever been drafted to the NFL. So it's kind of cool, you know what? And you got this kid, and I guess I said on Friday's show that our offensive coordinator Gatesy worked him at the pro day for the college kids. He saw him and he was like, and he started working with them. So that's why he's on the Bears. So, but I think it's a good one. And you saw the cuts. Well, we'll get back to those in a minute. So let's stay. So I just wanted to give Badgett a little throw out. He had a great preseason, and he made the team. So it's really cool. And I don't know. It's you can't really play him because you got Fields, but there's something about this kid that I like to see him a little bit more. So the rushing game for Saturday's game was we did rush for 6 of the running backs rushed for 106 yards. Not great, but anything over 100 yards we'll take. And but 2 of those runs, the 106 yards, were from our quarterbacks. Fields had I think a 20-yarder, and then Badgett scored the touchdown. And I think that was about a 13, 14-yard run, something like that. So, you know what? Out of that 106, those 2 quarterbacks did something to it, added to it. And I still am digging the rookie, number 30, number Johnson, as I told you about, who came from Texas. I really like him. I think he can. He's going to show a lot of promise. And then you've got number 21, Foreman, who came from Carolina, and they do like him a lot. So, there was, you've heard that Jonathan Taylor, or you have not, for Indiana, is not happy. He wants a new contract. Indy isn't going to give it to him. So he requested a trade. And, of course, there's a lot of rumors, the Bears are going after him. No, they're not. They don't need him. And they're not going to give up somebody good for this guy. He's a good runner. I watched him at Wisconsin run because he played for Wisconsin in college. His balling was great. But again, as I say, I swear to God, I think why some of these running backs come to the NFL, they get hurt in their first or second year, and then it just seems to be constant. And I think the college teams are wearing them out, and then they come to the pros and their bodies are gassed, so their injuries happen more often. So that's the only thing about Jonathan Taylor. Great runner, but he is injury prone. That's been a problem, and I think that's one of the reasons Indy isn't going to pay him. But Bears are not going to go after him. It would be a dumb mistake. We don't need him. We've got running backs. We got Herbert. We've got Johnson. We've got Foreman. And there's another guy I can't. Then again, you know what? Each show I'm going to get better. Really, people. I'm not as scatterbrained as I'm right now, but it is preseason, so it's preseason for the host too, right? So, but the running game I think is going to be fine, although the offensive line has something to do with that too. So even as that's the only thing the offensive line was good at last year, was allowing the running backs, although the running backs pretty much Montgomery and Herbert made holes for themselves. Oh, and that's another thing. If the Bears were going to pay Johnson from Indy, the guy I was just talking about, Jonathan Taylor, then they should have just kept Montgomery because it would have been the same thing, and they did it. See, they want youth and less money on their books. So, so they're just so people forget about that. Stop reading that crap. People just write whatever they want. I swear to God, on Facebook, some of the dumb stuff I see is like. Anyway, so our offensive line, like I was saying for the running backs, is important. So we need them to step up again because we need to make sure that running game continues, because I believe we led the league last year in running. We were dead last on sacks. I did look that up. We had 20 sacks last year. Can you believe it? There's players in the leagues that had over 20 sacks individually, and the Bears' defensive line last year was dead last and only had 20. That's just fucking embarrassing. Like I said, they couldn't stop a baby from crawling. They just couldn't. So let's hope, well, the O-line is still a process. We know that. So let's just hope the Bears get their act together before September 10th and the game starts, because we need these guys to step up. Same with the D-line. The D-line this year, I heard there's only one right now returning defensive lineman that was on the team last year, and that's Justin Jones. Travis Gibson is on the team, and he was on the team the last couple of years, yes, but he wasn't a starter. Justin Jones was, so he's the only returning guy. So it'll be real interesting to see what happens there, on that defensive line, these new guys. And that's why it was hard during preseason, because there were so many guys coming in and out, and I was like, I can't keep up with them. So, although I will tell you, Travis Gibson had another good game on Saturday. But you heard, I'm sure, that he requested a trade because, and people are like, what? Although I think it's kind of stupid to request a trade 3 days before cut day, because tomorrow is cut day, although they did cut some players. I'll talk about that in a minute, but they haven't cut everybody yet. And then they got to do the practice squad. They got to name to the practice squad. Therefore, Gibson, because I think he asked for that trade because he knows the Bears are going to cut him. That's what he's afraid of. And he is in his contract year, and I just don't know if the Bears are going to keep him or not. I don't know. And it's just too bad that he didn't play the last few years as well as he's played in preseason this year. See, contract year, you got these guys, I better play better. Well, then why didn't you do it in the previous years? We wouldn't be discussing you right now about getting cut, and you wouldn't have requested a trade. So I don't know. We're going to see. I'll be real interested to see if they do release him. So, we'll see about that. So, but the defensive line, you know what? It looked good at times, and then it didn't look good, But as I said, there was only one returning starter, and they're putting guys in. The guys they've drafted, the guys they signed. So they want to see how they're doing. So that's what preseason's about, But and they have been getting the quarterbacks more. There's no doubt about it this preseason. So I've got a feeling that we might be able to hold our own this season. We got to get these young blood, get them in there. There's going to be some, pains along the way. You know what I mean? Because these guys are young. And the same with the offensive line. So there's going to be some growing pains for sure. So I don't know. The D, we'll just see. I think, too, people are like, well, the offense was so unimpressive. You know what? I don't think, one thing, the Bears are trying to see all the other players, what they have. That's why Badgett played a lot. And you notice Walker only played a short stint in the fourth quarter, and that now we know it because the Bears cut him. The Bears did cut quarterback Walker, O-lineman Leatherwood, who they signed last year from another team, and then Gabe I don't know how to say his last name, but he was signed, and he's a guard too, and he was cut. But that's the only three they've done so far. I don't know if there's good. I tried to wait a little later to do the show, but I haven't seen any other cuts. You guys might be seeing more than I'm in Vegas. But tomorrow, they're going to be. Well, they have to. They have to do the final cuts tomorrow. So we'll see. You guys, it's. I've talked about it. This season, it's all about our two lines more than anything. Of course, Justin Fields, too. But it starts with the D line and the O line. They have got to vastly improve if we at all stand a chance. And I know my buddy and a lot of people seem to think the Bears could go 11-6. I looked at the schedule, and I could kind of see why people think 11-6. I would like not to split. We play Detroit, Minnesota, and Green Bay twice, and I split those. One team, each team winning once. I would like to see us beat Green Bay twice, but whatever. And that's being, and then I went like, okay, we'll split the division games 3-3. And then I went and I looked, and, it could be 11-6. I don't know if we're going to be at 11-6. I certainly would love it. I just want to be over 500. Even if it's one game, it's better than last year. Then what were we, 3 and whatever we were, 3-14 or something. So it's like, come on. So we will see what happens. Now, there is one thing that I wanted to talk about because a lot of people are confused about this. The new quarterback rule. And even I was a little wrong on this, so I wrote this down. So there's a new rule this year, and the owners put it in because of what happened last year in the playoffs when San Francisco lost all their quarterbacks, and it was just terrible. It was awful because they lost them all, and they were starting. Somebody was playing quarterback, had no business behind there, so they didn't even stand a chance in that game. So they made a new rule. So it's the new quarterback rule, and it says. First of all, it says the bylaw will permit each team to field an emergency quarterback on game days. That will not count against the team's 46-man active roster because every Sunday they can activate 46 players out of the 53 that they have. Okay, so each team has 53 players going into the season. And then they also have players on the practice squad, but that's different. So they have 53 players, but come game day, out of the 53, only 46 of them are active. So basically, and then it says the third quarterback can be placed on an inactive roster spot where he would not be used on a 50. So what they can do, every team can carry 3 quarterbacks now. And if you have your third quarterback, so we've got Fields, Badgett, and Peterman. So let's say on Sunday, right now, on September 10th, they do not activate Peterman, but so he can. But they don't have to use one of their 53-man roster spots for Peterman, but. If something happens to one of the quarterbacks or 2 of their quarterbacks, he can play. The third guy can play, come into the game. That's the way I understand it. It's a little confusing. But it does say that you can do an emergency quarterback on game days that will not count against the 46-man active roster. So let's say Fields got hurt. Badgett got hurt, and Peterman's sitting on the sideline, he could come in. But it's only for quarterbacks. So I think that's the simplest way I could put it. So we'll see, right? But yeah, I wanted to explain that because I don't think I explained it very well last Friday, which is not all of a shock to me. But again, I'm getting back on the saddle too. Like I'm forgetting names. I gotta start memorizing all the names again. So we'll see. Like tomorrow is cut day. You're probably gonna start seeing them. I think they let Leatherwood and Walker go yesterday. They did it last night because they want to see if they can get picked up by another team. right? So that's what they want to do, some of these guys. And there's some players that I saw on the Bears, they were even saying it during the game, that if the Bears don't pick them up, they're going to be somewhere else. And that's the thing. Some of these guys out there, if they know, I'm probably not going to make this roster, but they were playing for other teams on Saturday, all over the league. It was second and third stringers most of the games I watched, but you still saw some good football because these guys are trying to make a roster. So, anyways, there's not a whole lot to talk about. So, my next show will not be now until September 8th. That's the Friday before the Sunday opening day in Soldier Field against the effing Packers. I know. But at least Rodgers is gone. I mean, win or lose, he's gone. Hallelujah. He is New York's problem. So what he'll do, like he always does, is he's going to win the games, probably get him to the playoffs, and then he'll choke like he usually does. So that's the way it goes when your name is Aaron Rodgers. So that's pretty much it. So I'll be back September 8th, and then going forward, I will be doing 2 shows a week on my YouTube show. And then I will promote my podcast a little bit more, but it is Bears Country Podcast. It will be on Wednesday evenings. It's live, and it's with my great buddy Dan, and it's the Bears Country Podcast with Dan and Lynn, who is just my buddy, and he's in Atlanta, and I'm in Vegas. And if you didn't know, Dan sought me out. He watched this show once, and he's like, I got to talk to this lady. I like her. He seems to think I'm good. Sort of. Not really today. But and he sought me out. We started talking. He's from Illinois, too. And it turns out he lived like 1 or 2 miles away from where I lived, where he grew up. He's 20 years younger than me. So, yeah. Isn't that crazy? We were like practically neighbors, and now we're doing a podcast so many years later. It's weird, isn't it? But I love him. He's awesome. So even though Dan can never predict what the Bears are going to do, last year I think he had them 11-6 too. As we all know, that did not happen. But Dan, I hope you're right, because I know you picked 11-6 for this year. I hope you are right, my friend. And excuse me, I'm fighting a little something here. So that's it. So, I kind of bantered here and there, not anything that exciting, crazy, but, hopefully I gave you a little information, brought a smile to your face today. And, do join me every time I'm on, please, but September 8th, and my shows will get better, I promise you. We do great shows. We have a lot of fun. Tune me in. We'll be talking about the game on that Sunday, and then that Monday I'll do another show, and that's how it'll go the rest of the year. 2 shows a week, and prior to games and after games. So, and let's see what happens, right? Because we are Chicago Bears fans, and it is about effing time that this thing gets turned around. As I said on the other day, Friday's show, we haven't had a quarterback ever, not in my lifetime. And I know some people will disagree, saying McMahon and Cutler. No. And McMahon, yes, he did take us to a Super Bowl, and I had a 2-day hangover from that Super Bowl, so I had a great time. But he was one and done. Then he couldn't stay on the field because he kept getting hurt, and then he turned out to be a tool. And then, he writes a book about the Bears management while he was still on the Bears team, and it wasn't favorable. So I read the book. I don't know how he thought that was going to keep them on the Bears, because the Bears were like, get out of here, sucker. You don't do that. You don't bite the hand that feeds you. Really stupid. Whatever. So in my opinion, the Bears really have had not a long quality Super Bowl quality quarterback. Let's put it that way. So it's about time. I think we got the tools here and there. Super Bowl ready we're not, but we're close. We're getting there, I think. But then, I don't know, because we haven't really seen the team together. All the ones. We've seen ones here and there this preseason, here and there, pluck them, but mostly 2s and 3s is really what we saw. So it really is hard to judge what team we're going to see on September 10th. So, fingers crossed. it's got to be better than last year. That's the only way I look at it, okay? So thank you for watching. You know I love you guys. I'll see you September 8th. And as always, love one another. Stop hate. Let's come together. This is, times are tough in this country and have been for years now. And, we've lost the kindness in our heart. People aren't as kind as they used to be. There's a lot of kind people out there. Yeah, I know. Oh, me? Yeah. But I smile at people. I talk to people all the time, and I try to make them laugh, and I try to smile at people when you're in the grocery store. You just never know what kind of day somebody's having. And, a smile can sometimes really perk people up and be like, and put them in a better mood. So, be kind. Love one another. We're all the same. And really, Bears fans rock, and we should all love and respect each other. So on that note, go Bears. I'll see you for the first official show of the first official season, 2023 season, on September 8th. Make sure to turn me on all the time. I like it. Boom! And tell everybody, because I get better and better as the season goes on, kind of like the Bears. So I'm like a nice bottle of wine. I only get better with age. How did you like that? Was that like a good one? I know it was. All right, go Bears. Get your acts together. Get ready for September 10th. And as always, keep on rocking and rolling from Vegas, baby. See you next week.